Welcome to Dr. Kush's Exotic Drinks. I'm, of course, Dr. Kush, along with my barback Kyle. I'm not a real doctor, but I did spend almost 2 decades running some of LA's best bars. After years of teaching classes and training bartenders, I want to demystify the cocktail world for you. Let's try a few new things as I open up my bar to everybody. Belly up, chat, and let's have a drink. All right, everybody, welcome to Dr. Kush's Exotic Drinks. I am, of course, Dr. Kush. We are here today. Not normally do we show up on a Wednesday, but circumstances have brought us here. And in fact, I do think that this is a kind of an important day to show up. As some of you know, yesterday was my birthday. We had a whole party in here for that. And on that birthday, we got some interesting news from across multiple platforms. One of them, of course, the great San Francisco Giant legend Willie Mays passed away. I don't know how many of you are baseball fans. Willie Mays, kind of an important dude. But we also, on Instagram, I learned something horrible. I learned something just absolutely horrible. That a bar that meant a lot to me and a lot to a lot of people that worked not just in downtown but in all of Los Angeles will be closing its doors in the next couple of weeks, and that, of course, is The Varnish, the wonderful bar The Varnish. Now, I don't do anything without having a book about it, so right here, this is the book that was written by this character right here. This is Eric Alperin. He wrote the book, but he also started The Varnish along with a guy named Sasha Petraske. And we're going to talk about Sasha today, and eventually we will do an entire My Favorite Bartender series on Sasha, because I do think he's possibly one of the great bartenders of our time. In fact, probably is the greatest bartender of his generation. We'll talk about him in a minute, but we are going to make sort of a punch. It's more or less a punch that comes out of The Varnish in order to honor our fallen bar brethren. So that's what we're doing today. We're making a cocktail called, it didn't come out of The Varnish, but it was part of the Varnish family, and we'll get into the whole thing. It is called Rome with a View. Rome with a View, kind of a nice summer cocktail. It works as a punch, and if it doesn't, we're going to squeeze it into a punch, because this is one of my very favorite cocktails to order from The Varnish. So let me say hello to the people before we get too deep into it. Let me say hello to our good friend Bon Bon, who has already made the cocktails. So if you guys are into spoilers, read, but we need a spoiler tag, I think, at this point. Hopefully Bon Bon liked it. She says it's a great summer drink. I think it's a great summer drink. I think it's a good all the time drink, the Rome with a View. Kind of fun to say too. Sounds like you're throwing on a little accento in there. Fun drink. Let me say hello over here to Shawnee Pennybaker. Good evening. Now, I was reading this. We have, I think we've seen Jeremy Foote before. Maybe we haven't seen Jeremy Foote before, but if not, welcome, Jeremy. Was apparently supposed to get a bartender kit for Father's Day, but family couldn't find one. Jeremy, let me tell you something, buddy. I am here live. Any questions you have about what kind of equipment you need, you just throw those in the chat, and I will answer them. We will have you a perfect kit for your, you seem, I'm going to follow the story of Jeremy real quick, if you guys don't mind. He's going to look around and get a cheap set while he's building 2 different bars at his place. 2 different ones. One in the basement and one poolside. Let me tell you, Jeremy, maybe don't trust other people to buy the equipment you need if you are going to be opening. You're basically becoming the general. You're becoming the admiral of two different bars. I will tell you what to get, what you don't need. Sometimes those kits, they come with stuff you don't need and not the stuff you need. So Jeremy, just go ahead and pick our brain here. We will figure everything else you need. Let me say hello over here to Tiki Tom. He is running late, but he did make it. Thank you, Tiki Tom. You have done it. Amy Beer is here. Oddly, this is beer from Bourbon County. This is bourbon and a beer. I was trying to do like a shot and a beer. You know what? Too sad today. Today's too sad to be making Amy beer puns. I'm sorry, Amy. We love you, but just no beer puns today. Let me say hello to the UF Mark. That is our resident Gator. Chomp, chomp. Good to see you. Jeremy Foote has never heard of a Rome with a view. Well, you're about to, and you are going to dig it, I assume. Let me say hello to Paul. Oh, dang. Paul, I'll say hi to you later. Things not working. Alex's life is here. He is coming here from, or they are coming here from Twitch. Perfect. They're here from Twitch. We are having Twitch watched for us currently. That is great. Thank you, Alex, for keeping us free of robots. We love bar patrons. We love all bar patrons of all shapes, sizes, ages. We have had tiny little bar patrons here drink some kombucha with us. We've had some older bar patrons. We like all that kind of stuff. What we cannot stand here at this bar is, of course, robots. We do not care for robots. So, Alex, you are doing the Lord's work by keeping robots away from us. Let me say something. I know that that's all I do on this show is just say something, but let me do it. Allow me. The Varnish was a very, very important bar. It was started by a guy named Sasha Petraske. Now, let me tell you just a little. I'm just going to give you the briefest introduction to Sasha because this is not about Sasha. Sasha passed away in 2015 at the age of how old? 42. 21 twice. So, you know, he was on his second 21st birthday and passed away. That's very, very sad. But before that, Sasha had quite a life. He dropped out of high school at 17, never finished high school from what I can tell, never did any kind of secondary school, never did anything that. Instead, ran away to join the army. Ran away and joined the army. You know, that's pretty cool, pretty good. Spent 3 years in the army until he, I think this is great, claimed that he was homosexual. He claimed that he was a gay man. Sasha was, in fact, not a gay man, but did claim that he was a gay man in order to get out of the military. So, I mean, gotcha? I don't know. He eventually left the military, moved to a place called New York. Used to be called New Amsterdam. Maybe you've heard of it. It is now called New York. And eventually started a bar called Milk and Honey. Now, if you don't know Milk and Honey, you don't really know much about the bartending of today. Guys like Sammy Ross, guys like listen, we can name 1,000 of them. All of them came out of Milk and Honey. Just about everybody came out of Milk and Honey. If I would name some of them, then I name Sammy Ross because I love Sammy Ross. He's my pal. We took a picture together once at the Varnish. So many great people came out of Milk and Honey. So many great cocktails came out of Milk and Honey. So many great bars came out of Milk and Honey. Eventually, Sasha opened up Milk and Honey out in London, and then he moved to LA to open up a little bar in the back of a sandwich shop. They claim to have created the first French dip. It's a place called Cole's, and in the back of that little bar, or in the back of that little restaurant, he opened up a tiny, teeny, tiny 657 square foot bar called The Varnish. And that changed Los Angeles almost completely as far as bars go. Suddenly, Los Angeles was a place where bars could be bars, where bars could do the whole cocktail thing like New York was doing. It won Best Bar in the United States. It was on the 50 Best Bars list just about every freaking year. It was just an amazing place that created a bunch of big LA buzz. Well, this year, unfortunately, after COVID, not everything survived. Just not everything survived after COVID. It was tough times. We lost places like the Lost Lake. Here in LA, we lost Greenblatt's. We've lost so many other bars, but we're losing on July 3rd, we're losing the Varnish. And that is very sad because I used to work next door to the Varnish. We would have a bar. So we had a bottle behind the bar of an old Overholt, and it would be called Family Meal. We would meet there, and we would the bar staff from the Varnish. We shared a little hallway. They would come into our bar before or after a shift, and we would pour shots of Old Overholt to either say "Have a good shift" or "Congratulations on being done with your shift," and we would drink that. And really, the Varnish. Is what we all strive to be. When I wanted to be a better bartender, I wanted to be a better bartender because the Varnish was such a good bar. So that was, it is sad to see it go. It is very, very sad to see it go. So I figured today we would make a cocktail that was in there. They had a list. Fun thing about the Varnish, I believe they had a menu, but nobody ordered off the menu because basically what you would do is you would go in and you would talk to a bartender and a bartender would make you something. It was a very bespoke bar. However, they did have a list of a little bit more than 100 cocktails that you had to know by heart. And in this book, Unvarnished, the story of the Varnish, they do list all those cocktails. So if you ever want to get a job at one of Sasha Petraske's bars, you will have to memorize all of these cocktails. So we're going to help you with one right now. We're going to do a cocktail called a Rome with a View. Put it right here. Rome with a View. It's right down this way. A very simple cocktail. I wanted to keep it similar in the similar vein of Summer of Punch. So this is Summer of Punch-ish. This was created at Attaboy, which was, of course, a brainchild. So where Milk and Honey, where Sasha Petraske's bar, Milk and Honey, sits, now sits another bar called Attaboy. He gave it over to Sammy Ross, and Sammy Ross created Attaboy. This is created by a guy named Mickey McElroy at Attaboy, and we are going to make it a Rome with a View. We're going to start by shaking this guy. We're going to do slightly different things just because we don't have everything that they need us to have. We are also a very bespoke bar. We have a rotating cast of liquors, whatever people send us. That's sort of what we have. So we're going to be doing something just a little different. But we are going to start off with an ingredient that is important to this cocktail, and that is going to be this guy. This is Campari. Campari, the Rome part of this Rome with a View, is, of course, going to come from our Italian red liqueur. There is some debate on whether or not this is an Amaro. I refuse. Leave me out of that conversation. I don't want to know much about that conversation. I call it an Amaro sometimes. I call it a red Italian liqueur sometimes. Sometimes I just don't call it. Sometimes I just completely ignore it. Anyway, very simple proportion of this one. You're going to need 1 ounce of some Campari. There we go. Kind of a fun little switcherooski here. For those of you keeping track, this is going to be part of our sweet and part of our bitter that goes into our what do you call it? Punch. Goes into the punch. So the Campari is basically a punch in and of itself. This right here is our next ingredient. This is some dry vermouth. This is extra dry. Now they call for Dolan. That's a great vermouth. Dolan is. This right here is Martini and Rossi. This is a cheap vermouth. Pretty good, but cheap. Dolan's a little bit more expensive. Martini and Rossi is a little cheaper. We are a bar on a budget. If you guys have another Blanc vermouth that you want, I saw somebody up here. Maybe it was our good friend. Oh yeah, it was our good friend Bon Bon. She made this with Lillet or Lillet or Lillet, whatever you want to call it. She made it with a different thing. Obviously, you guys are home bartenders, most of you. I think Jeremy Foot's on his way to being, again, an admiral in a bar fleet, but use what you got. You got a dry vermouth that isn't either one of these things, use that dry vermouth. The important part is find a dry vermouth that's usually going to be a blanc or a white vermouth or a non-red vermouth. And sometimes we will call this a French vermouth. So find a French vermouth and go ahead and put in 1 ounce of a dry white vermouth. There we go. We have absolutely blown David Virtue's mind. His brain is exploding with all of these high-level ideas currently. We have done 2 days in a row. That is because we will be missing a few days in a row as well. So sorry about that. If you guys are really excited about 3 days in a row, I'm going to break your heart. It's like I'm going to tell you that the Varnish is closing twice because we will also be closing tomorrow. Okay, we need some juice. What kind of juice? Why not? The spinnable, winnable lime. Oh, we're going to be using it. Oh, gosh. I'll put this down here. I don't really have a cutting board currently, so we're going to have to cut this right here on a paper towel. I know we're not going to win any awards by cutting on paper towels, but we are going to make a drink. We need 1 ounce of lime juice, so we do have to cut this as we have to cut this to get as much juice out of it as we can. And the best way we know how to do that is going to be our normal method. We're going to find a little nublin right here, and we're going to go just a little bit off to the side, and we're going to slice straight down, hoping to find this guy in here. Follow those lines right there. Follow those lines. Do you guys know where I learned this trick? Have I ever told you where I learned this trick? I didn't learn it from another bartender. I did not. No, I learned it when you are receiving goods, food goods, from the company that drops off stuff at a bar. You will usually get limes in a huge box. I mean, probably this big. They're very, very heavy, like 20 pounds of limes. They'll probably drop off there. On the side of those boxes is a diagram that shows you exactly how to cut limes like this. Learned it from a diagram. I then went on to do many, many experiments trying to get the most juice out of a lime. And it turns out this way almost always won. So that's what we do. Go ahead and put in 1 ounce of lime juice. We're going to squeeze by hand. So get real close in there and squeeze away. Now, I know Sasha would not love that I am not jiggering this. Sasha was one of the people responsible for bringing the jigger back into bartending for this age. For a long time, it was all about pour counts. How good are you at turning a bottle completely upside down and counting out your pour? My pour count goes 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. I am the only person that I know that pours 2 ounces with 1,000 marks. Most people would just count to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But for some reason, the thousands always helped me get that going. We're going to get as much in there as we can and maybe give this a little twist. There we go. Throw this off to the side. And we're doing good. Yes. Tiki Tom, other than oils from the skin kush, is there a benefit from doing it this way rather than using some sort of mechanical squeezer? Yeah. Well, the oils obviously help out a ton. But yeah, if you cut it that way, if you want to cut it the way that I showed you, slicing like that, and then put it into a squeezer, that might help. The problem with it is the squeezer is going to have a hard time getting enough angle on that lime to get all the juice out of it. So better just to squeeze it by hand, I think. But if you're going quick, it's not that much of a difference to just slice it in half and squeeze a squeezer. I listened to what that box told me one time, and I never stopped listening. So I may be at this point what they call brainwashed. I may have been brainwashed by a box. I don't know. It's too much on my mind to think about that today. Go ahead and grab some of your simple syrup. Now, I, of course, keep my simple syrup in a Frank's Red Hot bottle. Why? Why? Exactly. Exactly. This is 1-to-1 simple syrup. It does not, let me just make sure before I go spreading rumors, go spreading lies. It does not say what type of simple syrup. It just says simple syrup. And I am going to assume that they would say things like super syrup or heavy syrup or something like that. We're going to go 1-to-1 simple syrup. That's how we make our simple syrup here. We need 3/4 of an ounce of 1-to-1 simple syrup. 1-to-1, of course, meaning 1 part sugar, 1 part water. That's what we mean, 1-to-1. So get that going for you. And that is that's it, guys. That is the drink. Now, you guys can't tell, but right here I have no ice box, no ice machine. Why? Well, you think I'm weird about my ice. The guys that started the Varnish also started something, a very famous company in Los Angeles called Penny Pounds, Pound Penny. I always made my own ice. Let me just get the name of it. I think it's called Penny Pounds. Penny Pound Ice. Penny Pound Ice was a company that would deliver very beautiful cubes of clear ice to bars. That would be sort of what their whole job was. They would make the beautiful cubes. They would go dropping them around. They obviously would use penny pound, Varnish would, because they were owned by the same guys. We make our own ice here. Sorry to break any hearts, but that is what we do. So we're going to take one of these guys. This is a beautiful little cube, small cube of ice. We're going to throw this into our glass. They would give very specific instructions on how to shake their cocktails. This one, of course, would come with 1 small-ish cube, and they would shake for 5 seconds. 5 seconds. I guess we got to get our shake count down now too. Let's shake this one for 5 seconds. Ready? You guys count it out for me. 1, 1,000. 2, 1,000. 3, 1,000. 4, 1,000. 5, 1,000. There we go. Doing great. Now, we don't have one of the types of ice that we need, so we have to serve this in a different glass. The way that this would be suggested to serve would, of course, be in a chimney glass or a Collins glass or a zombie glass or a tall glass or whatever the heck you want to call it. Be served in one of those. We are instead going to serve it in a fat boy or a low ball or a rocks glass or a old-fashioned glass. All kinds of different names for all this stuff. And we're going to get a new piece of ice. Any chance that these fit? I just made this beautiful ice, but I don't think it fits in there. That's more for turning into circles. Let's get a really good piece of clear ice. That's a pretty good one. Throw that in there. Why don't we get 2? We're celebrating. Celebrating a little bit of ice. There we go. We got that. Now we're going to go ahead and pour this over the ice. We are then going to add just a little bit of soda water to give this little effervescence. One of the reasons that they serve it in that tall glass, it looks like this. Again, the only reason we're not putting it in here is because we don't have the ice for it. But they put it in something that looks like this, is because the longer the glass is, taller the glass is, the longer the bubbles have to sort of travel before they dissipate. So we are not doing this right. But it's better to make a drink because you have some of the ingredients than to not make a drink because you don't have all the ingredients. We're going to put that on a shirt. Or you know what? We'll just all get tattoos. Better. Go ahead and pour this over. Excellent. Now, I'm going to be doing what we call in the business killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I think bartending invented that. Pretty sure bartenders kill a lot of birds. The garnish for this is normally going to be some an orange slice. We're not doing that. Instead, we're going to be doing sparkling Instead, we're going to be doing sparkling mineral water and soda water. Just pour it until it's sort of to the top. And there you have it. Shawnee Panabaker has a novelty ice mold, and it is the Death Star. That is awesome. Sean, have you made it clear yet? You can do it, Sean. All you do I go through it now, or do I do it later? We'll do it later. We'll do it later. I will show you how to make those things clear. Never, ever do you see those clear Death Star things going, but it is possible, and old Cushy Cush can show you how. All you got to do is get a thermos. Get a thermos in the meanwhile, and then we'll get to it. This right here, guys, is called a room. That's not true. This right here, guys, is called a roam with a view. It was created, it is on the list. This is on the list of cocktails that you must know in order to get a job at the Varnish. Unfortunately, by July 3rd, 2024, you will no longer be able to get a job at the Varnish. So if you want a job at the Varnish, I suggest between today, which is June 19th, 2024, I suggest you got to get your application in quick, because I assume that there's going to be a lot of people applying for jobs at the Varnish right now. But if you don't want to get a job at the Varnish because there's not a lot of longevity there, maybe a couple weeks, it is nice to pick up. They didn't. I'll be honest. They gave me this book. I did not buy this book. This was a book given to me by the people at the Varnish. But I highly recommend it. It's different than any other cocktail book I've ever read. It is more of a narrative than it is just a plain like how to. It follows this guy. Oh, it follows this guy right here, and it really has a bunch of heart. It shows the love of cocktails. I think one of the taglines is like it shows that bartenders aren't people that failed somewhere else. That is really kind of what you get in this book. Really nice, and hopefully, I don't know, maybe it supports the bar, maybe it supports the people that are going through rough times. Either way, we should do a toast to our fallen comrade, the Varnish, who we love so much, but will not be able to enjoy anymore. Do not carve upon stone or wood that they are honest or they are good. Instead, write in smoke on a passing breeze 7 words, and the words are these that say all that a volume could. They loved, they laughed, and they understood. LA will be worse without the Varnish. Cheers to the Varnish. Oh, that's so good. A perfect summer sipper. It has everything that you would look for in a punch, even if it is not built like a punch. This does have a lot of punch qualities, including a little spice, bitter, to make everything all nice. It of course has the sweet in there. It has some strong. This is a very, very calm cocktail. If you wanted to make this a little bit more like a punch, as we are in the summer of punch, may I suggest throwing in a little bit of gin, a little bit of vodka, a little bit of rum, a little bit of tequila, a little bit. I mean, you know what? Probably whiskey would work in this thing. A little scotch probably wouldn't hurt anybody. Find your way in there, but that's not what we were doing today. We were making the Rome with a view today to honor our friends at the Varnish. So cheers. Jeremy Foote. I just remembered. So I didn't remember this. Jeremy Foote. I knew I'd seen the name Jeremy Foote before. Jeremy Foote used to watch on Instagram. And I sent Kush back when I watched on Instagram a recipe called the chicken bone shot. 1/2 Fireball, half chocolate milk. Try it, folks. It's so good. Maybe we banned Jeremy Foote. I don't know exactly what happened. Jeremy Foote is back. He used to watch the show when it was on Instagram. If you want, I don't think I've ever taken any of those Instagram shows down. So if you want to see where this show started, you can head over to my Instagram. It is Kush Tender on Instagram. You're going to have to scroll a little bit further down, but all of those shows, I believe, are still on there. Maybe one day we'll put them on the Patreon, but for right now, it is up there. Tiki Tom says, I believe this is my drink of the summer. Boy, oh boy. I mean, that is quite a thing. Crypto Dave YT is asking, is this Kush Tender? Oh God, Crypto Dave, you're making me nervous. Crypto Dave is watching us over on Twitch. Can I tell him no? I guess not. Yes, this is Kush Tender. Good to see you, Crypto Dave. Always a pleasure. Never a chore. Okay, that is what we got for you guys. Please just when I started this show, when I started both of these shows, I did it because the world was closing down. We like just about like 98% of all the other people that are on YouTube and Instagram right now started this as a business when the world shut down, and we are still seeing the effects of that going on. And we are I still have bartender friends, amazing bartenders. I'm not even going to sit and name them. A lot of amazing bartenders, people that knew the job inside and out, were amazing with people, knew every drink, were creative and fun, and were able to keep their head on straight when they needed to, and absolutely spin it around 360 when when that was required of them as well. That are still looking for jobs. So if I guess in the end, if you guys do decide to cheat on this bar and go to a real bar, remember to be nice to the people out there. They are, a lot of them have probably been struggling for a while. And bartenders, although we may seem tough and cool, most of us are, what's the opposite of tough and cool? We're Linda Ronstadt. What's Linda Ronstadt have to do with this? Why is she taking shrapnel? We are not so tough and cool, and we definitely have rough days. So right now, downtown Los Angeles is having a rough day. It is losing the varnish. So that's all I have to say. Jeremy, there's no way I would ban you. There's honestly, I would never ban you. Fireball gets a bad rap, and chocolate milk doesn't really belong anywhere in that either. But I will never ban you for suggesting cocktails. And if we ever bring back Drinker or Stinker, Jeremy, we will try your we will try your chicken bone cocktail. It sounds horrible. Okay. That's what I got for you guys. Thank you so much. Press your thumbs for all of the bartenders that are going to be overqualified at this point to be working at a Chili's because of the Varnish closing down. And if you see a bartender at a Chili's and they are somewhere trying to turn the helium balloon or the helium tank on and attach it to the soap machine with different flavors to try and bring the essence of lavender to your mighty margarita, know that that is a person that lost a creative outlet and is probably a very good bartender. Order from them and tip them well. That's all I got for you guys. Until Saturday, we have a very fun, if I can squeeze him on here, we have a very fun guest that we're going to have on. And we will most likely be doing some whiskey punch drinks. So tune in for that on Saturday. Good to see Jeremy Foote again. Good to see all of you like Bon Bon and Shawnee P and Tiki Tom and Crypto Dave. Crypto Dave is making me terrified. I don't know. Am I getting hacked right now? I feel like I'm getting hacked. Why do I have a feeling? I'm being hacked. Anyway, remember, please subscribe to this channel, like this channel, comment on this channel, and share this channel. And we will see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to tip your bartender. Until then, bye.
This is the way we talk in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
I'm gonna drink a lot of beer and stay out all night.
Wow. When did you discover that you were so beautiful?
Save your question. Why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer. Why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
How about pretty please?
Oh, please, oh, please, oh, please.
Oh, God, no.
Why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer. Are you Dr. Jinga Janga? Bye, bye.